All right, welcome to the Dirty Air Podcast, everybody. Episode number 7. Uh,
Oops.
miscommunications at the start.
What what had happened was
Here, everybody,
is that
pull your mic back just a little bit, just
pull
a
it
little bit.
back slightly.
Yeah, you're
Is
it's
that
just
better?
yeah, you're good level wise. I just want to make sure you're not
Okay.
blowing a hurricane in there.
Oh, sorry. I
But,
apologize.
no, you're good.
Um, but yeah, what had happened was is that you told me to do the song, so I put it as I have all of my sounds on the number pad, and so I had it on the enter key on the number pad,
Oh God.
and then I went to go find something for this podcast, and I googled it and hit enter.
Oh wow. Oh, so that was
Uh,
perfect timing
and
too. Literally right when I went
I
live.
uh I didn't know that it was gonna be the same enter. That was kind of a stupid mistake.
Well, yeah, sorry about that, guys. Working on the intro song here, and we got it though. We got it all good. Everybody, welcome to episode 7 here, the Dirty Air Podcast. Got a lot of topics here today, NASCAR related topics. Not too much iRacing topics. I think next week we'll get more to the iRacing stuff. Hopefully we'll have peak driver Benjamin Nelson on next week. So that's something maybe to look for y'all next week to get some
I
tips
hope so.
and tricks from the man himself. But this week we had a pretty eventful week here in NASCAR with Bristol Motor Speedway. And before we get into the race, um, you know, Brian was doing this little thing where he was doing the facts of the race and in quizzing myself. So, I figured I'd throw him a loop ball or a curveball. What is a loop ball? That's some dumb
A
shit.
loop ball.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that
something
that
new.
would be really cool.
Yeah. What's that one ball? The gyro ball. That's what they throw in Japan. But I'm gonna throw Brian here a curveball and maybe test his knowledge of Bristol Motor Speedway. So, you ready,
Well,
Brian?
I can already say it's not too good.
All right. Well, it ain't too hard. I think you can get it. All right, Brian. Who you think has the most wins at Bristol Motor Speedway?
Uh, I, it's Darrell Waltrip, isn't it?
That is true. How many wins do you believe he has?
I think he has 12.
That is true. Good call. Good call there.
That's only
Um,
because they said it in the broadcast.
like a 30 times, yeah. But so the next thing I gotta ask is which active driver has the most wins? What do you believe?
Active driver. Uh, hmm, Kyle Busch.
Yeah, how many do you think he's got?
He just got his eighth.
Ninth.
Dang it.
Actually, you may be right, Brian. It may be 8.
I
Because I
think that
think it
was
was
his eighth.
6 and 7. Yeah, because they would have tied it if Kurt Busch would have won. It was his 8th. You were right.
Yep.
You're right. Yep. My bad about
Yeah.
that, everybody.
Yeah.
Calling him out on the wrong answer here. All right. So he's got his first 2 right, or first 3 really, because he got the Kyle Busch and first 4 because he got the numbers right too. Damn.
Yeah.
Well, who do you think has the most top 5s at Bristol
Active or ever?
ever?
Ever. Ooh. Jeff Gordon?
Nope.
Uh, Richard Petty.
Yes, and another man also.
Ooh, tied.
Yep.
It's Rusty Wallace. I know it's not him though.
Nope. You want me to go ahead and tell you?
Yeah.
Darrell Waltrip. Both Richard Petty and Darrell
Oh,
Waltrip have 26 top 5s at Bristol Motor Speedway, which is wow.
that's
That's
a lot.
ridiculous. Yeah. Who do you think has the most top 10s?
Now that I think would be Jeff Gordon.
Nope. Richard Petty.
Well, Richard, is Jeff Gordon anywhere on any of these lists?
Nope. Jeff Gordon is not.
What?
Richard Petty has
That's
37 top
unbelievable.
10s at Bristol Motor Speedway. Who do you think has the most starts?
Mark Martin.
Well, he actually, I'll go ahead and hint this into you. He is on one of these stats, but it's not that.
Ooh. Well, if it's not him, then it could possibly be Richard Petty.
That's very true. Richard Petty had 60 starts at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Oh my, 60? Were they
60.
all 500 laps?
That's a good question, Brian. I'm not sure about that, but I know they've been running the 500 miler since the 60s. So
It was 500 lapper.
yeah, 500 lap. What the hell? That's not 500 miles. If it was 500 miles, we'd be there for 1,000 laps.
So 60, 500 divided by 2. It's done. If he did every single one of those laps, and it was a 500 lap race, he would have done 15,000 miles at Bristol.
Wow. Well, that's one of the questions that's coming up actually. But first,
Oh,
before we get there, who has the most poles at Bristol, Brian?
ooh, that's a tough one. Kyle Busch,
Negative. I'll give you two more guesses.
Darrell Waltrip,
Negative.
Dale Earnhardt.
Nope.
Man.
All right. It's two people. They both have
Who?
9 poles. Mark Martin and Kel Yarbrough.
See, I knew Cale Yarborough was going to be on. I
Yep.
knew he had something.
So, uh, the most laps led. Who do you think has that?
Ooh, it's Richard Petty.
Nope. Two more.
Ooh, it's either Daryl or Kale.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, it's one of those. So
Well,
which one is
I
it?
mean, I knew that already.
Which one is it? Do you think?
uh, Kale.
That's right. Kel Yarbrough has the most laps
Oh
led in
wow,
Bristol history. 4,305. So,
pulled Kale right out of my ass.
yeah, and pulled the kale out your ass. That's disgusting. Don't eat that kale. That's disgusting kale. Uh, all right. So now we're getting into like where we're talking about the most, miles and laps. This man actually has the most laps completed at Bristol and the most miles. So who do you think is has the most, of that?
Is it the man that my math?
No,
Is it the man I
nope,
based my math off of? So
nope. In your
Richard Petty
math,
did not do.
he didn't do 15,000 miles. I can tell you that much.
Ooh,
The man who did do the most miles, I ain't gonna
it's
tell you
got
who
to
it
be the
is.
man who led the most laps.
Nope.
It's got to be
13,000
the man.
miles, 13,871 miles is the most miles completed at Bristol Motor Speedway, and it took
Wow,
26,000 laps to do that.
that's uh, that's a lot.
I'll give you a hint. He was called the Iron Man.
That's too big of a hint. That's not even a hint. You just told me who it was.
Who
The Iron Man. There's only one man who is named that.
was it?
Big old DE, Dale Earnhardt.
Nope.
The- What?
Dale Earnhardt was not the Iron Man.
He was Ironhead. Oh, jeez.
Who used to have the record for the most consecutive starts in NASCAR before Jeff Gordon broke it? That same man has the most laps completed and most miles ever.
Dale Jarrett?
Terry Labonte.
Oh,
I figured you'd get it when I said Iron Man, but we're gonna have to check on
I
Brian.
don't know that nickname.
Yeah, I mean he's the Iron Man because he drove through all them injuries and stuff, keep his record going.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he broke his hand,
It was
drove with a
like
broken
what,
hand.
707?
Yeah, it was something, but Jeff Gordon broke it later into his career. But yeah, Terry Labonte has the most laps completed and most miles at Bristol Motor Speedway. So definitely an Iron Man if you can do that for sure. But a couple of these stats we had our main man DW here, and pretty big announcement this week, huh, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure many people could have guessed it was coming soon. I mean, I figured it was kind of coming soon because, used to when they put the camera in a booth, they'd all be standing up. But he'd been sitting down a lot lately, so
Yeah,
when you got to start sitting down, I think maybe you should just enjoy your retirement.
Yeah, and
At
if
least
anybody
that's
out
the
there
way I
didn't
look
know,
at it.
um, Darrell Waltrip has announced at Bristol Motor Speedway this past weekend that he will be stepping down from the Fox booth um, next year or after this end of this season. So, which for them ends at Sonoma. So Sonoma will be his last race. Not too far away. He's got a few more left, but I think a big thing was we need to remember Darrell Waltrip and 3-time NASCAR champion, 84 wins. I mean, the man is I mean, he gets a lot of flack. Let's not lie. There's been a lot of backlash in the media, especially some articles that I wasn't very fond of. I can tell you that much. With
Well, there was the one.
well, I've read another one now. I've read two more, but
Oh, was it by the same person?
no, there was one by Forbes, and one by AP Racing News or AP News. I can't remember the other one, but Dave Moody also wrote a really good article about Darrell about how he didn't deserve it. But you know, Darrell Waltrip, if anybody didn't know this, planned on retiring in 2017. That was his plan. And he decided to stay because he didn't want Fox to take on Jeff Gordon as a new broadcaster, and also another person that would be brand new to the broadcast. So it'd be two new guys with Mike Joy, and DW really felt like it was his job to guide that and let Jeff build into what he's become. And I mean, people have been saying some pretty nasty things about DW, and I think it was wrong. I mean, the dude's a legend. And some people were overblown to say, well, 2019, nobody can take flack or stuff, but it's downright damn respect, in my opinion, to the man that
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I have it pulled up here.
Yeah,
We can extract some phrases
yeah.
like
If you want to, you can go
carnival
ahead.
like yuck fest.
Yeah, that.
Carnival like yuck fest. Uh, she uses Cracker Barrel down home broadcast in a negative way. It's just so I don't understand why you would put some like I can understand someone having an opinion of Daryl Waltrip maybe overstaying his welcome. I can understand that. But what you can't do is insult the guy knowing he's about to leave, and it's kind of the same thing that I thought with Miley Cyrus as well. At some point, you don't have any more publicity and you want publicity, but bad publicity is still publicity. So I think she's just, this, well, I've narrowed it down now, but this person who wrote this article uh, is just looking for clicks. And I mean, that's just what I think. And I mean, pretty much, I haven't heard a single person in the NASCAR community say anything good about this article. I would really like to know Kevin Harvick and Tony Stewart's take on it, seeming
Yeah,
as who the writer of this article is. Tony Stewart just adores this person.
yeah.
He's
I think a lot of people. Okay, I will put it out there. Jennifer
no,
Iyer.
you can't.
Uh,
Okay, well,
I mean, she puts her name on it.
God.
She can have her name out there on it. So, Jennifer Iyer, she's a passionate journalist, I would say, but she's tend to step on toes of some NASCAR drivers in the past. So, to note, Kevin Harvick, Tony Stewart, Ryan Blaney even had an issue with her last year.
Oh yeah, that's right.
She's and she's taken issue with NASCAR. She's tweeted before rants about how the drivers just leave the racetrack and they're there to pick up the matters and try to figure out the story. But I mean, I understand her side of the point of view, but I really think it was one of the more disgusting things that I've read in a long time about how she described DW. I mean, I understand the man's getting old. They're trying to make it, that have that certain feel, but you don't have to damn disrespect the man. Especially, I mean, it's one thing if he wasn't retiring, and this is a rumor that's been going out there
Yeah.
that they knew he was going to retire at Bristol this weekend. So why post that article a week before the man retires just to bash him more and like make it seem like he's going out on a bad foot? Like, respect him.
Well,
And
it's to make you look like that to the rest of the nation that your article put him in retirement.
yeah,
That's the only thing I can think of.
yeah, I agree. And that's her right. She can do what she wants. Freedom of press. I mean, all to her. But it really does upset me a little bit when I hear someone bash a legend of the sport like that. When especially it's undeserving. It's not like DW's out there making a bad name for the sport. He's trying. I mean, the dude's getting older. I mean, think about it, Brian. Like he drove race cars for what 20 something years, and then he hops out and broadcasts for another 20 years. Like that's 40 years of your life just devoted to a sport. Like that's unprecedented, almost. Like it's just one of the
Yeah,
things
well, I
that
mean,
like respect the man.
it's really similar to John Madden,
Yeah, very
and
similar.
there were obviously there were things said about Madden, but I didn't grow up in that era, so I'm not entirely sure, but I don't remember anything big like this happening, especially when like John Madden said he was going to retire. I don't remember any negative article coming out about him right before his retirement. So,
Definitely.
I mean, that's the
It's
way I kind of look at it.
yeah, it's tough.
And here's the other thing is that there's a lot more people that know Daryl Waltrip than know this Jenna girl.
Yeah, I completely agree. And yeah, it was in my opinion a little dirty. Um, now I understand she has a right to do it, but you know I just didn't think it was the right timing. So you know, just one of the things. But
Hey,
man,
just because you got a right to do something doesn't mean you should do it.
exactly, Brian. That's exactly. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. That's what my mom always told me. So
Exact.
you know, it's just one of the things. But to move on to brighter things, well, we won't have DW for long. But we will have him a little bit longer this season, so we'll get to enjoy him a little bit more. But I want to ask you, Brian, personally, since that's a void now. Who do you want to see take that position as Jeff Gordon's, and Mike Joy's third head commentator?
I would love to see, and I've just kind of thought about this recently. I would love to see Chad Canals up there. If he would be, I mean, he had that one show on Speed that one
Yeah,
time.
he is a Fox Sports member.
So
He does go NASCAR race up a lot.
yeah, so I mean, he's already got that experience there. He's already associated with Fox. So I think when he comes off of the box, which I mean could quite possibly be at the end of this year at the rate they're going right now. Um,
Well,
but I would love to see him in there at some point. Maybe not next year. I guess for next year,
yeah, next year's a
I
tough
mean,
one.
you could.
I don't think. Yeah, go ahead. My bad.
Oh, I was gonna say, I mean, you could always get a driver from the Xfinity series. That's only Xfinity.
Yeah,
You could always get one of them to do it, maybe for a little bit. Maybe that's what you do next season.
yeah, like do
Is just
different
every
ones.
week you have a different driver
Yeah,
until you
that's a possibility.
find a really good fit.
Um, yeah, it's tough. Fox
I
Sports has
know who
really been
you're gonna
investing.
say.
Fox Sports has been investing a lot of money into bringing new people in. I really think they're trying to compete with NBC more, which actually to your opinion, Brian, which broadcaster do you like better, NBC or Fox?
Growing up, I always liked Fox.
Yeah,
I loved Fox, and I didn't like NBC all that much, and I really didn't like TNT because Kyle Petty got annoying
yeah,
and Wally Dallenbach got annoying. But now, probably my favorite has to be NBC,
yeah.
and it's probably just because of Dale Jr. So I'm a little biased
I
there,
I
but
have to agree there. I was a Fox Sports person too, or a Fox broadcast for NASCAR growing up, and you think I would enjoy it more with Jeff Gordon. I do enjoy Jeff Gordon being in the booth, but lately it's still Fox. It's still a great broadcast. I really like it, but NBC has brought like a new level of like professionalism, and I don't know, like they've got
yeah,
some really interesting stuff going on at NBC. but I know that's my opinion. NBC right now is my favorite. Um, they did like some broadcasts where they do like the radio style broadcast. That's so cool. They try different things and like that,
Yeah.
and it's
Well,
really different.
my problem with Fox is that when they got Jeff Gordon up there, and they had to put Larry McReynolds somewhere,
Yeah,
and he kind of feels like an afterthought now.
yeah,
He kind of feels like they couldn't figure out where to put him exactly, so they just cut to him whenever they don't have anything else to talk about.
yeah. So
And which is a shame because I really like Larry. Like
yeah, I
that
love
guy's
Larry.
pretty smart. Um, he maybe like Daryl Waltrip, he might be a little bit outdated on some things, but he's still pretty good.
Yeah. So to get back to the question I asked you, my answer with that, who should replace Daryl Waltrip? Man, that's such a tough one for me. I I think Larry McReynolds for this year at least. I think Larry McReynolds at least. Okay, I got a few candidates. I can't pick one. Larry McReynolds, I think, might be the leading candidate to move back up top, but I do like where they have him right now because they kind of bring him in for like the technical stuff, pit strategies, fuel numbers, stuff like that, and he fits that well. But I would like to see Larry back up top, commentating the whole time. I've always thought he had good insight. So that's one. There was rumors Kevin Harvick was going to retire and come in the booth, but I don't see Kevin Hart retiring. So I think when
Well, he
Harvick
even
does
came out
retire,
and said he wasn't.
yeah, and I think when Harvick does retire, I think that is a very good possibility. Harvick will be the man to replace whoever that is up there. But I mean, there's a few people in the NASCAR, Fox team like they got Bobby Labonte. I don't think Bobby Labonte would fit it too well. Um, just from what I've seen from him from Race Hub, and they talk to them like after the race and stuff. Sometimes I don't know if Bobby's the right guy for it.
He's a good after it happens, not
Yeah,
really
yeah,
like
I
in the
agree.
moment.
Yeah, maybe Ricky Craven. Ricky Craven could possibly be a good one. I don't know if he has. I think him and Jeff could be good together. I don't know. I think that'd be a good combo, but it's so tough right now. My top pick would be Larry McReynolds, but yeah, it's a that's an interesting what's going to happen there. It's so we'll just have to see how
I
that
would
plays out.
love.
I wish Alan Bestwick could come back.
Oh, that would be good.
Oh my god, I loved Alan Bestwick. Like
I wish
I
Tony
didn't like
Stewart would come in for a week.
right, yeah. I the thing about Alan Bestwick is like I didn't really like the ESPN broadcast that much, but he was amazing. Like man,
Oh yeah, he's always been good, and that hair was just perfect.
yeah, right. So there's a few people on the a short
Oh,
list.
him, Kevin Harvick, and Dick Berggren.
Oh yeah, Dick.
Oh my gosh, that would be great.
Well, I feel like Dick Bergen's a good pit lane or reporter or whatever, So
Oh yeah, but it's just for a week.
yeah, just for a week.
Not all
Yeah,
the time. Just just like the combinations of people that you would want to commentate for a race.
yeah. It'll be interesting. That's something we're gonna have to pay attention to and see what they decide there at Fox Sports. But I'm very interested in it. But first, hats off to DW. You're a legend, and we salute you and respect you with all our hearts, and we'll miss you.
I
That's
like
all I
how
can
he
really
did
say.
that boogity 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 at Bristol.
Right? Yeah, and wave the flag.
That
That
was
was
cool.
really cool. That was
I
really really cool.
remember they I was reading an article and they were asking Jeff Gordon about how Bristol got him to wave the green flag and they
Yeah.
wanted him to do it and he was going to do it. And Jeff said that the first thought that came into his mind was who's going to say boogity boogity boogity
Yep.
because I can't do it. That's not my thing. That's Daryl's thing. So, but it has to be said. So, what are we going to do? And he said they had already figured out the solution. And the first thing that came into my head was that you get them to do it on the flag stand, and that's exactly what they did.
Right.
It's like
That
that's
is yeah.
perfect. That's amazing. That's literally what everybody has wanted to see for 20 years.
That's for sure, man. So yeah, that's definitely interesting. So salute Dale Waltrip again. We'll all miss you and thank you for what you done for our sport. So yeah, pretty awesome to see him go out on his own terms when he's ready. So, but now we move on to the race at Bristol. Uh, Xfinity this weekend was won by Christopher Bell. Not much talk there. I didn't actually watch the race Saturday. I was not at home, so did not get to catch that one. But I know Christopher Bell did win. So congratulations, Christopher Bell, on the win. I know Kyle Busch wasn't in the race, so I know a lot of people like that. But I think they had to deal with him on Sunday, though, didn't they, Brian?
Yeah, man. He was something else.
Yeah,
He would not be not denied.
that's for sure. You know, this. So actually, last week we picked winners last week, and myself picked Kyle Larson, and I think every week the person I pick has issues.
What
So
a what a terrible pick that was.
don't don't get picked by Zach. That's the thing. If Zach picks you, you're probably gonna run bad. But
I
Brian
forgot
did
who I
predict Kyle
picked.
Busch, so you got it correct.
Oh,
I think this is your first one all
see,
season. You got it right.
I
So
I forgot and got it right. I guess I need to forget more.
yeah, right. Well, we can't say it was a Kyle Busch dominating performance though, but they were there when they needed to be, and they got the track position, and Kyle Busch drove away at the end. But looking at that race, man, I got some interesting things. So like I always like to point to Jeff Gluck because Jeff Gluck
What did you call me?
Jeff Fuck. I mean what? No, Jeff
No,
Gluck. If anybody didn't know, he is a NASCAR journalist, and
a good one.
yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty damn good at it, and he always runs these polls after the race, where a lot of fans answer yes or no if they like the race. And this Bristol race, it got an 86% of you saying, or wow, he said of you. My bad. 86% of people said yes. So this race so far is on his
Yes, they
polls.
liked it.
Yes, 86% of the people liked it. That means 14 did not. Best, it says this is the best result all year. Best, highest percentage of, so it's the best race all season by anybody voting. This also ties for the 15th best race out of the 120 races he's polled since 2016. Now it's 4 Bristol races have scored higher than 85%. It breaks a tie with Martinsville for the most. So Bristol and Martinsville have scored 85% or more yeses. They're the only tracks. Then this other fact was short tracks and road courses make up the 12 of the 18 races that have received 85% or more on the polls. Only 2 of those 18 races were on intermediate racetracks. So what does that tell us, Brian?
Well, I was about to say that exact same thing. Is that what does that tell you, NASCAR? What I mean, look, they're polls. Polls don't lie
Yeah.
usually. I mean, depends on who you ask,
You're right. It
and what
definitely
it's
does.
for. Um, but in this case, I feel like these polls are pretty accurate,
Yeah.
and that just tells it when you look at because I like statistics.
Yeah.
If you're gonna say something, you gotta back it up by statistics, and I'm kind of a hypocrite at that because usually I forget the statistics. But when you have statistics like that showing that your most exciting races and most watched races and most liked races according to the fan base and the rest of the nation is short tracks and road courses, it, maybe you ought to do some more of those.
Exactly. Yeah, I think
And
NASCAR.
maybe even come up with a stock car road league.
Dude, I would love that. I would be
Like
all for that.
like in Mexico, that's all they run in Mexico.
I mean, these Gen 6 cars, they're not the best race cars on intermediate racetracks, but I tell you one thing they can do. They can put a show on at a short track and a road course.
Yeah,
And
it's all that downforce.
that, and they work good there. They're a little bit more reactive, I guess you could say. They're more race car-y than the old cars, I guess you could say. Which short tracks doesn't matter, but road courses, I think the race car being lower to the ground, lower center of gravity, all that makes for better racing in general. With the cars are more agile, I guess you could say, than
Yeah,
back in the
and
day.
here's what we do. We go to road courses, right? We have this road course league. We go to road courses. We have a 10-inch spoiler on the back of the car, right? But it's going to have a little winglet inside, and we can have DRS.
Oh God, don't start that.
Yeah, we can have DRS
If anybody
in
out
the
there doesn't
NASCAR
know,
Road League.
DRS is used by Formula One. It's called drag reduction system. It is when you're 1 second behind the car in front of you, and you can activate DRS, and it creates less drag on your car, which equals to about 12 mile an hour more speed down the straight.
Yeah, there's this little winglet in the rear wing, and it instead of being kind of like closed, it opens up a gap. So there's more air that runs through the wing as opposed to pushing down on the
Yep.
wing. And so I think that would be pretty cool to watch and see if it has the same effect.
Right. It would be interesting, but I don't think that's, in my opinion, I don't think it's somewhere NASCAR needs to go. It's just down a wormhole. But that would be cool. That'd be cool. That's a fun idea, I think.
Let's just try it
Right.
over
I
here.
mean, why not? I mean, we should just try things. But yeah. So 86% said this race was good. I was actually one of the people that voted for that. I will tell you, there was a yes vote out of this, man. I watched the whole race. And man, from start to finish, I gotta say, Bristol, I I don't understand how, like, people don't like this Bristol. Like, I am still a fan of the old Bristol, the one lane right on the bottom. But you know, this Bristol definitely creates more passing opportunities, more side by side racing, and it shows you with this new traction compound that they're running and stuff. It makes the racing great, man. Even with dirty air issues, it's still great because you can move around. That's really the big thing. And there's traffic. It's hard to go through traffic. It's just a good old short track, and I think NASCAR just needs to focus on finding more short tracks. Maybe even building short track. We need to build more tracks like this. Like it's really, I don't know how track owners aren't looking at it, but I mean, but we'll get into the attendance thing later. But I mean, it was a great race overall. Um, and the funny thing about it, Brian, I don't know if people, Joey Logano, I think he led the most laps in the race. But actually, no, Ryan Blaney did. Ryan Blaney did lead the most laps,
Yeah,
but Joey
just a
Logano,
little bit.
I think Joey Logano was a little faster than Blaney. But Joey Logano was pretty upset he didn't win because he thought he had the fastest car. But I don't even think the fans really saw who had the fastest car, because it was a man 4 laps down at the beginning of the race who came back to finish 1 lap down, or actually on the lead lap. And that 4 car Kevin Harvick was ridiculous
Yeah,
fast. I think if Kevin Harvick could have got on the
that
lead lap,
was
he would have won the
crazy.
race. He
Oh, easily.
he drove through the field multiple times that race, like just drove through the field, and I don't think the
Old
broadcast caught it too
tires, new
much.
tires, doesn't matter.
Yeah, and because I know Rodney Childers said it was a video NASCAR posting. It was like Joey Logano a little bit upset that he didn't win after having the fastest race car. Rodney Childers retweeted and said he didn't have the fastest race car. I can tell you that much. So yeah, a lot of people comment on there. Well, if you pass inspection, you might be able to
Ooh,
yeah.
ooh,
But
ooh.
also Kevin Hart did have a loose wheel, so that didn't help him. But you
Well,
know,
hey, you're ready for the fall race. You know that going into the fall race, you're already set up really, really
yeah,
well.
that four
Other
car,
teams have to catch up.
yep, that 4 car was bad fast, and I don't like to use that term, but
No.
yeah, I said it. Damn it. But
We
so
got to come up with something similar, but not the same.
I don't think you saw stage one ending, did you, Brian?
Did not.
Do you even know who won it?
It was by an inch, and it was Ty Dillon, I
Yeah,
believe,
yeah,
over Boyer.
yeah. Ty
It's coming
Dillon.
back to me.
Yeah, Ty Dillon won the first stage. So congrats to Ty Dillon, the first stage win of his career. That's awesome. And he did it racing wise. Like, he raced Boyer for that. That wasn't,
Yeah.
out
Like
of
I said, I
merit.
mean, it was a couple inches.
Yeah. And Boyer had a really fast car at that too, so he held off Boyer. And man, that's a great thing for that team. So we saw that. Also, Chase Elliott started on the pole. So, and Hendrick actually another front row start between William Byron's actually had two front row starts in a row. He started second at Texas and second at Bristol. So good job on that team. The 24 team is looking better. They just got to have some better luck in the races, and I think they'll turn that around. Chase
Yeah,
Elliott,
not get a car slammed up into him.
yeah, Chase Elliott looked really strong in the first 32 laps, 30, 40 laps. And then we had a caution where Ryan Preece cut down a tire, and good old Corey LaJoy decided to run in the back of Chase Elliott there. He couldn't check up fast enough, and that actually spun Chase Elliott out, and he somehow kept it off the inside wall, got no damage. But pretty much all race they fought a power steering issue, so he had a tough day at the shop. I gotta say that 9 car was pretty fast, so I think they at least had a top 3 car for most of the race. Just had a lot of issues.
I wonder
You
what
know,
his arms feel like now.
yeah, I was looking around Brian for that. Driving with that bad power steering issue, which it seemed like it came from heating. I know I was reading a lot about it, and the team was saying the more tape they took off, the better. And I think they ended the race with no tape on
Yeah,
the
but
car.
what it what happens is with anything, whether it's engine oil, power steering fluid, brake fluid, whatever, if it starts to boil,
Yeah,
it
turns to a
releases
gas.
that gas, which especially for well, if they're running, I assume it's a mechanical power steering pump. It's not
I would
electrical.
imagine so. Yeah.
So if it's mechanical, it pumps. You know, those pumps are designed to pump fluid, not
Yep. Not
gas, and
gases.
so
Yeah.
that's no bueno.
No
They don't
bueno,
like that,
sir. Yeah.
and so it just that steering assist goes away. Uh, luckily, I guess it was pretty gradual.
Yeah. It seemed like he
If
said
you had a
it was
caution,
bad when he had a right. Like if he had to turn back right at all, he had more issues turning right than left. So something interesting there. Don't know if it's something the team was doing. Little something something. He did
could have
actually
been, or
hit.
it could have been how the steering rack was.
Yeah, and he did hit the wall in
Could have just
practice.
taken
He
out
did
one
hit the wall in
side.
final practice. So, and
Oh yeah, that's I forgot about that.
yeah,
Pancake
so
the
yeah, that could have possibly came from that. Um, but yeah, he had an up and down race and pretty much fault power steering issues. So, Jimmy Johnson ran pretty good. I think Jimmy finished 10th and Chase finished 11th. So, Hendrick Motorsports, I think, is getting a little better, Brian. I think they're getting a little better.
it's getting a little. But what's funny
They're showing
is
signs.
I work for the Hendrick Automotive Group at one of the dealerships, and going to work every morning or afternoon, I hear on the radio it's a commercial for Hendrick dealers. Uh, it's like Hendrick drivers finish first, and that's the slogan to get people to come buy a car from them.
Yeah.
But Hendrick hasn't won a race this season.
Yeah.
How can you use ad tactics like that when you haven't won a race?
We won 3 last season, dickhead.
Yeah, with 4 drivers.
Well, one driver won 3 of them, so he's carrying the company. But I think the other teams are catching up. I really do. 88 Alex Bowman, abysmal weekend. Don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know what Greg Eyes and Alex Bowman need to figure out something because the 24, the 48, and the 9 are actually pointing upwards while they've kind of just stayed status quo in the 20s. So
I think it's Mr. Ives there
yeah, I'm leaning to that side too, Brian. I really do.
because he was not good with Junior either.
I'm really thinking that too, man. He's had a lot of issues since he's got to the cup. Never really had a
He could be
car
car chief.
contend. Yeah.
I think that's what he used to be, is car chief.
No, well, no, he was Chase Elliott's crew chief in the Xfinity. He won the championship with
Oh,
Chase.
is that?
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
He was no, that's the other guy.
Kevin
Kevin
Mindren was he was
Yeah,
the car chief for or not the
he's the
car
really
chief.
good one.
He was the engineer for for Steve Letarte when Dale Jr. was winning all those races. So I think Kevin Mindren does have talent. So at least setup wise. So maybe have to work on strategies, but I think he's been calling pretty good for those too. So well, it's
Put
interesting.
him.
Jimmy ran top five
Oh,
most of the race though too. So
he was quick.
yeah, but pretty interesting
Strategy.
race. A lot of a lot of passing going on. A lot of green flag runs, not a lot of wrecks. The beginning we had a few wrecks. Kyle Busch was actually caught up in a lap one wreck. So
Caused by guess who?
our favorite Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
I mean, yeah, if there's a wreck near the beginning of a race, it's probably
You can bet $20 it's Ricky.
3/4 of the time it's going to be the 17.
Yeah, yeah, and
I mean, I
Ricky
should get
messed
the
up all my
numbers on
fantasy
that.
lineups. Come on, Ricky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, the
he's
sad thing
good.
is,
He's a good driver at
I, s-
Bristol. So
I said this last week, like, he's a quick driver, but he's just stupid.
yeah, he's a little too aggressive, and
He could be really, really good.
the wreck that happened, I don't. It wasn't all his fault because it's a huge checkup, but you gotta lay the blame on the guy who runs in the back of you. So, but Kyle Busch again with damage on that rear end, knocking that rear end off, and tell you what, he fought back again. But he didn't have the best car. He definitely didn't have that. I think he had about a top four, top five car, but he had a good
Well,
long run car. Really, his car took a while, like take about 30, 40 laps to take off, and Joe
it's
Logano
like
and
he
them
said
guys
a
were
few
gone.
years ago. You remember what he said a few years ago about they were they asked him about some guy was saying how much faster he was, Kyle Busch was than him, and Kyle Busch was like, "Yeah, that's all behind the wheel."
Yeah,
So Kyle Busch just has a sixth sense for Bristol,
yeah, he does.
and he just has an extreme amount of skill
Yeah, so
at that track,
it,
and
it
so I think that's what got him. He had a top 10 car, probably fourth, fifth, sixth, somewhere around there. But the rest of it, he just drove the shit out of that thing.
yeah, he willed it. He's a will man. That's for damn sure. Uh, one thing is like, so we came down to the end of the race there. About we have 23 to go. They pitted with a caution. Logano, Keselowski leading the race. Pitted, and Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, um, who else? Shit, there was at least about four cars that stayed out, and with 20 to go, me and Brian were sitting there watching the race. I said, "Well, I think the new tires are going to eat them up," and I was damn mistaken. They did have a jumble up on the restart with some confusion with Brad Keselowski there, and I looked more into that, Brian. That was definitely Brad's fault.
Yeah, I saw a little bit too and read a
Yeah,
little bit, and
we were
he
thinking
just had a
Logano
little
was being a
brain fart.
dickhead like usual, and
Brad was in the outside lane. He's supposed to be on the inside lane.
yeah,
Now, that other car could have maybe not been letting him in,
yeah. Well, the issue was
but
it really wasn't Brad's fault. It was his spotter's fault. Um, it was
uh-oh.
information was not relayed right, so
It wasn't one
miscommunication.
of Austin Dillon's old ones, was it?
I do not believe so. I
It
know
wasn't one
Joey.
of those four.
No, I know Joey Meyer used to be a spotter. It's not Joey Meyer anymore. Joey Meyer actually does a lot of reporting now. But yeah,
Or did he get the restart spot wrong too?
maybe. But yeah, because Brad had a video and he said just the information between the team and the spotter and him did not uh get to him correctly, and he could not figure out what to do. So he thought he was supposed to be in a different position. So one of
It's
them
like a game
things.
of telephone.
Yeah, and so that kind of jumbled up, and I think that kind of held Joe Logano back a little bit, because he had to start like three wide.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, well, I was fine with it. Trust me, I was completely fine with it. But yeah, I think that kind of held him up a little bit with the new tires. He didn't get going as fast, and we had the brotherly battle for the last 20. That
It
was
was
interesting.
it was really good. I loved it.
It was awesome. You know, Kurt has 6 wins at Bristol. Kyle had 7, now at 8. Like those two brothers, just they should call it the Bush Motor Speedway because man, those
Bush
guys.
Motors.
Kurt won the last race there. Well, actually, it was a year ago. Won the spring race there on Monday, and yeah, those two just know how to get. They have a knack, man, for that track, and just impressive. We've never seen them battle actually for a win there, and this one they did. And Kurt had the best comment ever. He said, "You know, I was going to wreck my little brother, but I just couldn't get there."
Yeah, that was hilarious. I love that. It's great. He did not care at all.
Yeah, he really didn't. And watched a bunch of videos where he went to Victory Lane and talked to Kyle's son, his nephew, and talked to Kyle, and it was really cool to see that family moment there. Yeah, well, Kyle Busch again, 3 victories through what 8 races, Brian? Yeah, 8. So,
Yeah,
and also
really
he's the
really
first
good
man
right
since
there.
Terry Labonte in 1995 to have 8 top 10s in the first 8 races. So Kyle Busch is on pace to have a very historic season. It looks like.
I think so. I mean, he is and I always go back to he said after the test is he said these cars are easy to drive, and the NASCAR came out and they weren't too happy with what he said, and now he's just showing them. He's saying, "Hey, these things are easy to drive. I've won almost half of the races so far this season.
He's definitely
Like,
showing him it's easy for him. That's for damn
was I
sure.
wrong?"
Yeah, it's yeah, it is interesting. Kyle Busch is killing it this year. I know a lot of people don't like that. I've definitely grown to like Kyle Busch. Like we always say, he's a
Me
grower,
too.
not a shower.
He is a grower.
Um, but man, I got another question now. He's got 8 wins now, Brian, at Bristol. He's got to get 5 more or four more to tie DW, 5 more to pass DW. Will he do it?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Like,
he's got two shots every year.
yeah, I mean, I can see him winning there later this
I
fall.
mean,
So
he could start a streak if they don't change the package. He could probably start a streak and be done with it in 5 years
I can see that.
and get more.
Yeah, I think he will break it too, Brian. I think you're right. Um, Kyle Busch has a lot of years left in him already, so see if he can break that record from DW. And I think it's cool to see somebody, breaking records like that and pushing towards records like that. He's got 3 wins through 8 races, so and he possibly could have had 4 or 5 already. I mean, 2 of those races he could have won that he didn't win. Um, so how many wins do you think he's gonna win this season, dude?
Well, if you go by just the percentage, it's 8 so far. What, we got 36.
Yep.
So he would have, like somewhere around 12 wins.
Yeah. So are you saying he's gonna win that
10 to
much?
12 wins. Well, that's what the math is, but I guess if you throw in a couple mistakes, a couple bad weekends, I think he could have 8 wins. He
Okay.
might hit the 10 mark.
I think he's gonna hit the 10 mark. That's what I'm predicting. I think 10 is how many he gets this year. Um, the reason why I say that is because winning 10 races is ridiculous in this day and era. Um, Jimmy Johnson's the last person to win 10 races, and I can't remember what year that was. I think it was like 07, 08 or something like that.
Well, Keselowski said at the beginning of the season that he thought that this season, if you got 2 wins, you were doing really, really good.
Right, and he has two
And a
wins.
lot of guys, exactly, he has 2 wins, and now Kyle Busch has 3. So I mean,
Denny Hamlin has
they're
two.
set.
Joe Logano has one. So only 4
The
guys have
rest of
won
the
this
season,
season.
they can just kind of cruise.
Yeah, it's it's definitely interesting. I think he can break the double digit mark this year, and I know that's a goal of his in his career. He's said it before multiple times, and he wants to get up to that 100 mark. You know, wins, and he even teased Jeff Gordon about trying to surpass him in wins. So when they were talking about maybe passing DW and wins at Bristol one day. So
Yeah, I think he's totally doing it. If he doesn't hit 100, he's gonna get in the 90s.
I think Kyle Busch has got the best shot of any driver in this sport to break the modern era record of wins.
Yeah,
No doubt. In my mind, he has the best shot by far. And that's even with Jimmy Johnson included right now. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
because
So,
Kyle Busch, his car is always on a sugar rush.
right? You know, actually, one of these podcasts, we're going to have to do a draft, Brian. Like, where we draft our
A
own team.
giraffe.
Like, if we were starting our own NASCAR
Should
team, yeah,
we
we'll
should
plan
pick
that
4
out for you guys one
drivers,
day, where you pick 4 drivers, and that's your team. So
and then
we'll
we
have to
can
think of something like
award
that.
points and stuff. Yeah,
Yep,
let's do it. Have a
yep,
little competition here.
definitely. We'll do that next podcast. How about that? Well, actually, we have been on. If we have been on, we won't. But then we'll do it next one. But we'll plan that for coming soon. I think that's a pretty cool idea for us to draft a little team up and compete against each other each week and compare. But
I like it.
yeah, Bristol was I okay. So we do this every week. What's your rating on this, Brian? Anybody on chat, if you're out there, let us know your rating for race out. A scale 1 to 10.
Man, I don't. What is yours? I want to hear
Okay.
yours first.
So far this year, I've had 2 8s. Daytona 500, Martinsville. I rated those both 8 out of 10. This race has eclipsed both of them in my mind. 9 out of 10 for Bristol. Yep.
What?
I think it was about as good a Bristol race as I watched in a long time.
Oh man. Um, it was pretty good, but I don't think it was 9 good. I still think it's just kind of average for me. I think it's like a 7.
This man's hard to please, but it's all right. I think you gave Martinsville. Did you give Martinsville a 7 or 6? I can't remember, but
I think I gave Martinsville a 6.
this man's crazy. I'm just kidding, but
Hey, I'm picky.
yeah, no, that's for sure. I build his setups. You guys don't even know, and do his paint jobs. You won't understand how picky this man is. And he picks his nose as much as he's picky.
What? What?
I had to do that one for everybody out there.
I don't believe it.
I'm fucking with you, but so yeah, I give it 9 out of 10. I like I said, one of the best Bristol races I've watched in a long time. Uh, I can't wait for it to be in the playoffs next year. It's gonna be so cool. Um, one thing before we can go, really, before we do our picks for next week at Richmond, um, we'll talk. Oh wow, burp. Sorry guys, that was excuse me. That was a burp talk. Let's talk about the
A burp
attendance.
talk.
Burp talk. Burp burp. Uh, let's talk.
Attendance, yeah, it's
Yeah.
terrible.
Well, okay. So first off, there's a lot of shit brought up about the attendance at Bristol. Um, I have some reasonings for why behind it. Why it was so bad. There was up to 40. There was like 45,000 people there this weekend. Bristol holds 160, so yeah, nowhere near what the capacity is. But what do you think, Brian? Do you think it's a bad showing, or like, what's your opinion on it, at least?
Well, the racing is good. So, and I'm really surprised there was not more people there because of this new package. I figured with Bristol being Bristol, completely different than anywhere else we go, I figured this new package would really get people coming in and seeing this race. And it didn't. So the only thing I can think of is that it has to do something with either the ticket price or it's got to be something logistically with the
Yeah.
track itself.
Okay, I have good answers for that. My opinion on the whole situation is a lot of people are overblowing it. You know, they did the thing where they kept everybody in one section. They didn't sell certain sections of the track, so it wasn't spread out because we've seen that before where it all over the place. Especially the spring race. The spring race does never hadn't had good attendance for really the past 10 years. I mean, the spring races really fell off a lot. Mostly, I'll add this up right here is a lot of people that come to Bristol. Bristol used to have a wait list. You used to have to wait on a
Yeah,
list
I
before you
remember
could buy
those days.
tickets, and they were sold out for 4 or 5 years ahead of time. Um, that was a lot due to, um, you know, people out of state came there. Like it wasn't just Tennessee people. It wasn't people that lived nearby. It was people from North Carolina, Georgia, all over the
Oh yeah,
country coming to
when
Bristol,
Bristol
Tennessee.
races came up,
Yeah.
I remember in town, I remember hearing people like ask about where they could get Bristol
Yep.
tickets because they couldn't find them anywhere.
It was a secret.
And it was, yeah, it really was. And like if you had Bristol tickets,
You had
you
the honey
were
hole.
a lucky person.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I remember that
And
very
now
much
it's
so.
just like you can literally give them away now.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I think the issue is, I have a couple points. So first off, the April date right here is not the best date for Bristol, Tennessee. It's in the mountains, and this time of year, there's a lot of storms. There's a lot of rain, so a lot of people don't want to plan going to a race that has a chance to get rained out. A lot of people wait till that day to buy their tickets at Bristol on this date at least, because if we go back to last year in 2018, the night race has been full, packed every year for the past 10 years. Full, like no problems filling up a Bristol night race. Like the picture I showed you, Brian. Did you saw how many people? Like it was sold out, like
Oh yeah,
completely
I'm
last
looking at
year.
it right now.
Yeah, and it is mostly due to the date, in my opinion. There, first of all, people like a night race more. Night races are better. It's on Saturday night, so it works out better. Also, another thing with this Sunday, with this race this past weekend, last year they had about 90,000 tickets sold. This year 45,000, but 90,000 last year, and they had a huge rainstorm where it like flooded and stuff down there, and like all the camping flooded. So actually, only 20,000 people watched, and then the race got even rained out more later in the night, and they had to race on Monday with like barely anybody there. So it's one of them things that like that is just not a great date. That's one of my first points there. But also, okay, you brought the ticket prices. Ticket prices, I don't know about Bristol ticket prices. I haven't really looked into them. Now, Martinsville ticket prices, in my opinion, are some of the best deals you can have. Like to go to a sporting
They're
event for
great.
$75 to $80 in a great seat at a NASCAR Cup event. If you can't afford that, you don't need to be going to a NASCAR Cup race, in my opinion. You got more stuff to worry about if you can't afford 70, $80. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it
Yeah, I
costs a
mean,
lot of money to drive up there, but you know they can't do it for 50, $40. I mean, there is tickets that they sell for $40. Like you just have to find the seats. I don't know about Bristol, so I must add there. I haven't really looked into the Bristol ticket prices. They may have issues there. That could be something Bristol could work at. But I'll tell you one thing I have seen a lot on Twitter this week. People talking about how bad hotel prices are. And that's the thing where I was talking about a lot of people come out of state to watch
oh dude,
Bristol, and that's why Bristol races were sold out. Because people came out of state and they traveled there. If you can't have somewhere to stay at like a hotel, if you don't have a camper and you stay at a hotel, the hotel prices okay, there was a motel or hotel a guy stayed at on Twitter. He said he paid $155 a night. The day after the race is over, that same room was $45. Yep.
I mean, I totally get that because, like in a few weeks, going to the NHRA drag race at ZMAX Dragway, and yeah, the hotel prices. I mean, they pretty much double
Yeah.
when that's in town. When the
They
Charlotte
they
race is in
gouge
town,
people.
they double. It's I mean, it's an immediate doubling. When I went over to Las Vegas for Nick's wedding,
Yep.
uh, the weekend prices were 3 times more than the weekday
Yep.
prices. And I mean, that's just how it is.
Yep. You know,
So they need to, I guess, more campgrounds at Bristol
yeah.
or something.
Maybe have an official
Make a
sponsor of NASCAR, a
Bristol
hotel sponsor.
motel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something something
get with
package
Holiday
deals
Inn
with
or something.
hotels or something where they can make a deal with hotels, say, buy this package, you get your tickets and your hotel stay. Because it, in my opinion, it's fucked up. That I mean, I understand hotels are going to take advantage of it. You know, they're going to make their money, but that's just marking a room of $100 because this is like NASCAR weekend. And it's going to be high demand. I know, understand supply and demand, but it's just wrong. You know that hurts everybody, and it could be ticket prices. I haven't looked into Bristol. I actually probably will do some research after this to see because I want to go to Bristol one
I'm
day. So
pretty close to finding out.
yeah, it's just one of the things that
Uh,
I think it's multiple things that add up for the spring race. I don't think it's a bad race. I just think it's a bad timing, bad
let's see. If we
local
get a seat
logistics.
about halfway up in turns 3 and 4, we look here, $110. So a little bit more than Martinsville.
Yeah, not too bad, I guess. But I mean, Martinsville's highest ticket price for a grandstand seat, by the way, uh, is 95. So
I'm looking at the seats available for the night race.
yeah,
There's not many.
yeah, exactly. See, that's another point right there, Brian. Like
There's
that
not a
night
lot.
race, that night race has such a demand because it's perfect. Saturday night under the lights, good time of the year in Bristol, nice and cool, getting cooler. Nighttime, so it's just one of them things that I think people overblow the attendance problem
Yeah,
there.
there's a lot of sections already completely full.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah, I guess the spring race is just kind of a bummer.
yeah, a lot of people don't like to go to that one. But the way I look at it too, man, is like so. Some people I've heard say, well, if this keeps up, NASCAR's going to fail. Well, what I have to say to them people is, it's the tracks that got to worry about the attendance. NASCAR
But yeah, I mean
makes its
NASCAR.
most money off of TV. TV deals is what runs sports today. You know, they got these $1 million, $1 billion TV deals that that's what funds everything. I mean,
Yeah, NASCAR doesn't need you. You need NASCAR
yeah.
when it comes
So
to you being a track owner. Like,
exactly.
hey, NASCAR don't worry about none of that. They don't
Yeah, and
like that's on
it's
you.
really not affecting NASCAR too much with these low attendances. As long as they're doing good rating wise and the TV companies are happy, they're making their money. So I've seen some people say, "Well, this is a failure in NASCAR right here. Let's just show where it's going." But you can't look at attendance, in my opinion, and say where it's going because ratings is what matters more than anything right now in modern day sports, at least.
Yeah,
So,
because ticket prices isn't what drives NASCAR anymore.
and personally, go look at a fucking Miami Marlins game during the summer. There's nobody there. There'll be like 10 fucking people in the stands. Like, sports are not driven off of people attending anymore. Like, TV deals is what runs everything. You watch some of the worst basketball teams play, and they have barely anybody there on some of their games, home games, because guess
Oh yeah,
what?
well, there was one weekend. It was 2 years ago now. The Browns, I think they were either giving away tickets or they
Yeah,
were like $15 or something,
exactly. I
and they
mean,
still couldn't fill a stadium.
yeah, and that it really doesn't affect the sport. It's the TV deal that runs the money. So everybody worried about that. Don't don't look into it too deep. You're just going down a wormhole, in my opinion. So that's pretty much all I got for attendance. So I think it'll improve. It's just NASCAR's going through a phase. They need new fans. You lost a lot of fans. Think about it, Brian. You lost Dale Jr. fans. Like majority of Dale Earnhardt fans are gone. Like they're still, the ones that left, stayed around and got a new guy, and they're still interested in the sport. There's a lot of people that, you know, they don't have a driver no more, and they lost interest. And it's going to take, you know, new fans to come into the sport. We're just in a day and age where we're growing in a different way, so we're stretching. we're stretching out at the seams, not at the top. So it'll be an interesting few years for NASCAR. So, but yeah, we go on to Richmond next week. I'm excited. I love Richmond.
Me
Love short
too.
tracks. Be interesting this high downforce package. I think dirty air might be a little issue, but we'll find out. Who are you picking, Brian? I'll let you go first again.
Ooh, it's a tough one.
I know mine.
Just kind of based off of the short track uh performance. I think Clint Boyer is a strong
Yeah,
choice,
that's a good one.
but I gotta say my pick is actually gonna be Kevin Harvick.
Okay, nice. Okay, not a bad pick in my opinion. I have two that I was weighing my mind on. Um, but I'm gonna pick the other guy since I don't want the guy that I picked to run bad. So I'm gonna pick Brad Keselowski to win it. They ran so good at Martinsville, and this is pretty similar to Martinsville. He was even saying in a video that I watched and posted on Periscope talking about the last race at Bristol. He was saying that he's very excited for Richmond because he really thinks a lot will carry over from Martinsville. And yeah, I'm gonna pick Brad. I was gonna pick Chase Elliott. I think Chase Elliott's gonna win. Okay, everybody knows that's my real pick, but Brad Keselowski's gonna be my pick because every time I pick someone, they wreck or something happens to them. So Brad Keselowski's gonna win it.
Well, now they're both wrecked.
Yeah, right. I know, but I think the reason why I would pick Chase Elliott too is I think it's just building up. It's been building up for the past 3 weeks. These runs are getting better and better. I think sooner or later you're gonna see, bam, wow, where did the Hendrick team win? So that's Hendrick, and I think they're working hard. We'll see what comes to, but Brad Keselowski or Chase Elliott is my pick. But we'll go Brad since we want him to finish bad. So yeah, I'm excited for next week though. So and hopefully next week we can have our main man Benjamin Nelson on. Get some insight from him. We'll also have Road to Pro talk from
Yeah.
Atlanta.
Next week will hopefully, well, not hopefully, but well, hopefully nothing much will happen at Richmond
Yeah,
because next week is
it might be
pretty
a long
much going to be
podcast.
all about iRacing. So
Yeah, if something happens at Richmond, we might have a long podcast next week.
yeah, it might be 2 hours.
Yeah, we don't know about that, but yeah,
Might be 4.
we appreciate everybody coming out. Shout out to our sponsor, Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You can check them out on YouTube at Freaky Fast Broadcasting on Thursday nights at 9, Saturday nights at 9:30, and actually this Saturday night they will not have a broadcast for Racing Freaks, but Sunday nights for the Earl at 9 o'clock, and you can catch me and Brian there on Thursday nights and Sunday nights commentating and not doing a good job, so or
Yeah,
trying our
pretty
best.
much.
So yeah, just shout out to Freaky Fast Broadcasting for the sponsorship. You can check us out on YouTube here, our YouTube channel, Dirty Air. And you can check us out and find us on Facebook for any updates, notifications at The Dirty Air Podcast. Again, The Dirty Air Podcast on Facebook. And we're live every Tuesday, 11 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for everybody tuning in. Anything you want to say to everybody, Brian?
Get the hell out. No. No, just yeah, check us out everywhere else if you want. You might like it. And yeah, we'll see y'all next week.
Alrighty, everybody. Y'all have a great night. And we will see y'all next week. Peace out.
Later, dudes.